We are with Dr. Ameet Aggarwal. He's gonna bring to us information and knowledge and a lot of expertise in homeopathy, family constellation therapy, liver detox, and trauma healing for hormones imbalance. Dr. Ameet is joining us from Kenya. How are you, Dr. Ameet?
Good, thank you, Susanna. Really excited, everyone. We're going to cover why your liver is so important and my favorite remedies for liver detox, how ancestral trauma and childhood trauma affects your nervous system, cortisol levels, adrenal system, and therefore how that affects your hormones as well. And so when you heal the root cause, yeah, with whether it's childhood trauma, ancestral trauma, liver toxicity, or leaky gut, with the right therapies, including homeopathy and liver detox, you'll get faster results for bringing your hormones back into balance. And I'm going to share you some of my favorite remedies as well.
That is wonderful. I am delighted to have you here, but we need to know a little bit more about Dr. Amit. He has been voted one of the top 43 naturopathic doctors worldwide. He helps thousands of people around the world to heal, as he just mentioned, to heal from trauma, anxiety, depression, and chronic disease. He combines naturopathic medicine, psychotherapy, homeopathy, and family constellations therapy to heal. He combines all these modalities all together just to get to the root of the disease of the or the emotional illness. um, so you practice so many interesting modalities, and this is a very unique combination to achieve holistic healing. How did you get into that combination of naturopathy, homeopathy, mental health, and family constellations?
Mm. So I started my career as a naturopathic doctor first. In naturopathic college, I then learned about Gestalt psychotherapy. And I was suffering from a lot of mental health issues, whether it was anxiety, depression, grief. I'd grown up in boarding school, I'd been bullied, I'd been tormented, I'd gone through breakups, so a lot of abandonment traumas as well. And then I'd also done my fair share of drugs and partying. So my body was also a mess.
Mhm.
And so I had gas, bloating, skin issues, you name it, and fatigue. With naturopathic medicine, using the right herbs and supplements and gut healing protocols, which we're going to cover today, I realized how important it is to have a clean gut, less inflammation, and a detoxified liver to feel amazingly well. So everything started improving that way, including my mood. And then I started to heal traumas, childhood traumas, abandonment traumas, negative beliefs from my upbringing, etc., through psychotherapy school. And that we combined also with homeopathic remedies. And I covered that in my online course, how to use homeopathy to release trauma. But we started using all this combination, this combined approach to heal emotional wounds. And when my wounds started getting healed, then my anxiety reduced. I got more confidence. I couldn't even speak in front of a class, and now I speak in conferences and I teach groups around the world. We do healing retreats. People are invited to those as well in Italy, in Kenya, Sardinia, etc. I'll share that website at the end. But my mood improved. Obviously, my digestion, skin, energy, strength as well improved with the natural remedies. And so, by healing the mind, which we're going to talk about today, healing the mind and body together, I got more results, more healing results than only healing the body with natural supplements. Yeah. The mental healing was super important for the body to then feel relieved of the toxic burden of emotions, negative emotions, or stressful emotions.
That is so interesting, and um, the most interesting part of all this is that you go to this healing method through your personal experience. So you really talk the walk, where you are the modalities that you are using for healing. You have experienced all of them, and then you had to become an expert. So that's excellent to follow
Yeah,
your
I've used
programs.
I've used these therapies, of course, on myself and with thousands of patients who have really stubborn anxiety, hormone issues, depression, and have tried to change their diet, are on multiple supplements, and they're on gut healing protocols, but they're not treating the root cause. And today we're
Mhm,
really going to look at, why the liver is important, why the adrenal glands are important, all to hormone and mental health.
mhm.
And of course, remedies like family constellations therapy, homeopathy, and of course, my liver detox herbs and homeopathics. That combined approach, why it actually gets people healthier faster.
So yes, coming back to what you just mentioned, hormone imbalance, chronic disease, mental health issues, as you just said, they can be result of trauma, but also leaky gut, inflammation, liver toxicity, adrenal fatigue, and ancestral trauma. Um, can you share can you share why this is so?
Absolutely, Susanna. So, um, I'm going to go into a lot of detail. If this gets complicated, just check on my website. There's free videos to walk you through gut, liver, adrenal healing protocols. Okay. So let's start with the basics. You have a stomach, you have intestines. Your
Mhm,
intestines are like a nice tube, a nice lining kept healthy by good bacteria and good food. Over time, with antibiotic use, a poor diet, inflammatory foods like gluten, dairy, too much sugar, too much alcohol, too much coffee, etc., the good bacteria get killed off and the lining gets damaged. When your lining gets damaged, you get holes in your intestines, and that's known as leaky gut. And with leaky gut syndrome, basically toxins leak into your bloodstream, and toxins also trigger the immune cells in your gut lining, and that creates a systemic inflammation. Yeah, so chronic inflammation. And that's the leading cause for asthma, eczema, arthritis, and a lot of other chronic diseases, including hormonal imbalances and depression and anxiety. Yeah, because this inflammation messes up with a lot of brain chemicals and hormones.
mhm,
Then what happens is also the liver becomes inflamed. Yeah, the liver becomes inflamed from chronic inflammation. The liver becomes toxic as well from chronic inflammation and from toxins from the environment and from drugs and alcohol and things like that. And now the liver is your master organ. It controls hormones, it controls detoxification, it produces bile for digestion, it keeps your microbiome or your gut bacteria healthy because the bile salts from bile, which is from your liver, are
mhm,
very important of killing off the bad bacteria and also feeding the good bacteria and making sure you're digesting your nutrients properly.
mhm,
And so when you have liver stagnation or liver toxicity, you don't get enough bile flow or proper amount of bile salts. So
mhm,
that harms your intestines and ruins your microbiome, the gut bacteria. So you get a worsening of leaky gut, number one. Number two, because your liver is the master controller of hormones, you go into hormonal imbalance. Yeah. Usually it's low progesterone or excessive estrogen. And therefore, people are trying to take hormonal remedies, but they're not treating the root cause. Yeah. So when you heal the liver with, let's say, detoxification with bitter foods, for example, yeah, and foods like broccoli, the brassica family, Brussels sprouts, arugula, or rocket, and then using homeopathic remedies, which I cover in my online course specifically for liver detox, yeah, and then certain herbs like milk thistle and dandelion, the liver starts working much better. When the liver works better, then you go into a more natural hormonal balance,
mhm,
hormone balance, without forcing your hormones to change with other hormone remedies. So when you heal the liver and then heal the gut, yeah, using probiotics, vitamin D, and other amino acids, which I cover in the course, then the gut and liver heal together. So you have less inflammation, less toxicity, better bile flow, and therefore better hormonal balance. Perimenopause, infertility, fibroids, ovarian cysts, PMS symptoms, all those start resolving much faster. And of course, you can use other hormone remedies like BIM, I3C, Agnus castus. These are beautiful natural supplements for hormone balance. But if you don't heal your gut and your liver, and of course, I'll talk about the adrenal glands as well and trauma, if you don't heal these pillars, then it's an uphill battle. Okay? So that's the importance of healing the gut and the liver together. Now, there's a
mhm,
missing piece here, the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands also affect your hormones. Yeah. When you have strong adrenal glands, you have more balanced hormones. Okay. And what happens is if you're stressed and traumatized, yeah, from childhood traumas like abuse, financial issues, parents divorcing, fighting, abandonment, boarding school, all those things, breakups, as well as life stress. Yeah. So if you have childhood trauma and life stresses, financial issues, work issues, marital stress, etc. These trigger a fight or flight response in your body, fight, flight, or freeze.
Mhm.
And basically, that stresses your adrenal glands to make more adrenaline, which comes from the adrenal glands, and cortisol, yeah, to manage the stress. Now, over time, if you don't heal the trauma and you're always in stress, your adrenal glands start burning out. They get weaker and tired or dysregulated. And
Mhm.
when that happens, then you don't produce enough cortisol, or you produce too much cortisol, or you get a cortisol imbalance, adrenal imbalance, and that messes up, of course, your hormones, yeah, and affects your progesterone, estrogen levels, and testosterone levels. It also affects your neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, GABA, melatonin, yeah.
Mhm.
So serotonin, dopamine, are all for those feel good neurotransmitters. GABA helps to reduce anxiety,
Mhm.
right? Melatonin is helpful for sleep. So now when these start getting messed up, then what happens is you go more into anxiety, depression, OCD symptoms, suicidal thoughts, low self-worth, yeah, and just burnout and chronic fatigue. So therefore, to summarize, that's why it's important to heal the gut, the liver, and the adrenal system all together.
Mhm.
And also the thing that's burning out your adrenal system, chronic inflammation. So there's stress burning out your adrenal system, but inflammation and toxicity also stress your adrenal glands to make cortisol, which helps to manage inflammation.
Mhm.
So when you reduce inflammation, reduce toxicity, and heal childhood trauma and reduce stress, then your adrenal glands come more into balance, and therefore you get better hormonal balance and a better mood as well.
Mhm. Mhm. And so, just trying to make it simple for a person that is listening to you, to what you're sharing with us, and is trying to understand, but do I really have a leaky gut? Are my adrenals so strained that they need to be addressed? So, what would be the symptoms that the person is finding that can tell them, well, this is the way you need to start looking into and try to follow this type of healing?
Okay, good question. So whenever there's gas and bloating, breast tenderness, cramping, clotting as well, whether it's with or without menses, those are signs of, like, of course, indigestion, liver toxicity, not enough bile flow. Yeah. Then, of course, if you're menstruating, or you're going to perimenopause and there's lots of, or you've had a history of cramping, clotting, breast tenderness, we know there's liver stagnation. That's standard in Chinese medicine.
Mhm.
And most people have some sort of stress and trauma in their lives. Yeah. And they're not aware. We just think, it's normal, get on with life, which is fine. You're getting on with life, but your body still stores trauma. Your body tries to work out or hide that trauma. And so there's a part of you that's always either frozen or vigilant or stressed. And until you heal that, your body will be in a vicious cycle of a stress response, a fight, flight, or freeze response. And so when somebody comes in to see me, we do a lot of sessions online, of course, for everyone around the world. We look at the emotional history as well as the medical or physical history from childhood up to present. We go through every single step of your life. If you were born C-section or normal birth, if you're breastfed or not, when was formula introduced, what events took place in your childhood, whether it's hospitalizations, parental fighting, stresses, abuse. Yeah, we walk step by step and look at the beliefs you created, as well as any ailments you had. Were you given lots of antibiotics? Yeah, we go through this from
Mhm.
childhood up to adulthood. That gives me a complete picture of what you've been through, and therefore what to expect, your body is compensated by.
Mhm.
So then
Mhm.
we know clearly what needs to be healed.
This is very important for people to understand. Thank you for clarifying that, doctor. Also, many times, because when we think of trauma, and sometimes we think trauma needs to be really something bad, that it didn't happen to me, I might not be even aware of it. And also, sometimes those limiting beliefs that you are talking about, they are created by a misinterpretation of a situation when you're a child. So the trauma, it is there, as you just said, it is stored in the body, but we're not aware of it. So it's really fascinating the way you have brought these three pillars of liver detox, gut health, adrenal health all together. And this is so important for keeping our hormones functioning optimally. That's what you have been saying, because our body can compensate and still we can go on. But what you are bringing with your program is you're bringing the body to a state of homeostasis, a state of an optimal state of health. Um, what remedies do you cover in your course to help people optimize their well-being?
Okay, good question. So in my online course, which covers gut healing, liver detox, adrenal support, homeopathic remedies for trauma as well as for liver detox, and then anxiety, depression, and emotional healing exercises, trauma healing exercises. The remedies that I cover include gut healing protocols, liver, adrenal support, yeah, and a bunch of different homeopaths. So let's go homeopathic remedies, sorry. So let's go through each system, okay? Some of the remedies we cover for gut healing, of course, is the probiotics. There's a beautiful list of hypoallergenic foods one can experiment with in the
Mhm,
course. Yeah, the typical allergenic foods and also low allergenic foods as replacements. I often use vitamin D as well, which reduces inflammation and helps gut repair. And there's other amino acids I cover in the course. Yeah. And then, of course, for liver healing protocol, I don't want to give it all away, of course, it's all in the course, but let's mention a few. Dandelion, I've mentioned, milk thistle, antioxidants are super important. And then the homeopathic remedies I cover in the course are specifically for liver detox.
mhm,
And why include homeopathy with herbs in your liver protocol? Because homeopathy is energetic form of medicine. Yeah. And homeopathy helps change the vibration of your liver cells. Yeah. And changes the way you metabolize herbs, supplements, and foods. So, because they're energetic remedies, they transform your metabolism. And therefore, when you actually transform your metabolism, you process herbs much faster or more efficiently. You detox much deeper and more effectively. Yeah. And you absorb nutrients in a much healthier way.
mhm,
And the beauty of homeopathy is it also heals your mind or stress. When you release stress, what happens is your nervous system, specifically your vagus nerve, it starts calming down. And your vagus nerve affects your digestion, your liver secretions. And so when you calm your vagus nerve or regulate your vagus nerve, then your gut starts working better. Your liver starts working better as well at an emotional, energetic level. Yeah. Even a
mhm,
physiological level.
mhm, mhm,
And then we have the adrenal support protocols. Herbs like ashwagandha, rhodiola, those are great at supporting the adrenal system. And there's other herbs, of course, covered in the course. And then we go into homeopathic remedies for stress and trauma. For example, Natrum muriaticum, beautiful homeopathic remedy. If somebody has gone through a lot of loss and grief and they're feeling withdrawn, sad, tearful, or maybe even resentful.
mhm,
And versus another remedy I cover in the course, Ignatia imara. Beautiful remedy as well if you've gone through grief, sadness, but instead of withdrawing and this deep sadness, you have more anxiety and tearfulness, yeah, and a lot of crying.
mhm,
So described in the course basically unique pictures people have, unique symptoms that people can have after stress and trauma. Yeah, whether it's a breakup, whether it's abuse, whether it's financial loss, or whether it's another disagreement in life. Yeah.
mhm,
If somebody, for example, is needy, is crying a lot, needs a lot of attention, and is afraid to be alone, we might give them pulsatilla. So all these remedies are really described really well in great detail in the course. Yeah.
mhm, mhm,
And so we've covered the gut healing, liver detox, adrenal support, as well as some homeopathic remedies for trauma. And then there's some beautiful emotional healing exercises in the course, and which will help you move through difficult emotions from your past. And then I have a full course also on family constellations therapy,
I
which
love-
is a really powerful form of therapy to heal
mhm,
ancestral trauma. Yeah, so we inherit trauma. Epigenetics has shown that we inherit trauma from our mom, our dad, our grandparents. Yeah, if they went through breakups, the war, abuse, homicide, abandonment, their trauma goes into their DNA, and we take that on, yeah, and we carry it out of love and loyalty. And there's healing sentences we can use, yeah, healing words we can use to release that trauma from our system.
Mhm.
And that's all covered in the course as well. Those healing sentences are in the Family Constellations course.
So the family constellation therapy um,
Hmm.
is you use healing sentences in that type of practice when you're practicing family
Yes.
constellation. Okay, and I'm sure that all the information it is in your website, but how long is this course?
So there's a holistic medicine course. You can watch it anytime. Yeah, you can take your time watching. So each person completes it in a different time frame. Some people take a few weeks or a week, a few days. Some people take months. Yeah, you go at your own pace. You do the exercises. You learn. You do your research. Yeah, and you change the foods. You experiment with the diet. You look at different remedies. That's at your own pace. And then the family constellations therapy course, that's a separate course.
Mm-hmm.
That also can be done at your own time because there's healing sentences. There's an exercise there where you can ask your family members of different kinds of traumas and different things that could be affecting you. I've listed all those traumas to ask your family members about.
Mm-hmm.
And so it depends how long it takes you to do that. Then there's multiple examples of healing sentences in there. There's case examples where, I've got one client with cancer, which went away because the cancer started after a trauma with her father.
Mm-hmm.
There's another client with a lot of chronic shoulder pain. Homeopathy didn't help. Osteopathy didn't help. Chiropractic didn't help. But there was an entanglement basically with her mom and a miscarriage that the mother had. So she was carrying the grief of her mother for losing a child, and that was burdening on her shoulders. And when she let that go and felt a relief, then the shoulders relaxed and literally the pain went away. So there's many different examples of real life stories in there. And so it's important to take your time and watch those carefully and just feel those words go through your own body and see
Mm-hmm.
the impact on your own nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when people take the course, they really enjoy themselves in the healing journey that they experience with these healing sentences.
Yeah, I have seen amazing testimonials that you have from your own patients that have gone through these courses. There is one little question I want to ask you regarding family constellations therapy, and it is that usually family constellations therapy is done in groups, but it seems that the modality, the way you are working with it, is a little bit different. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So family constellations is practiced worldwide, either individually or in groups. Yeah. It's not necessary to only do it in groups.
Uh-huh. Mhm, mhm,
And so a good practitioner can be sensitive enough to feel what we call the field. We can use objects to represent your family members or the traumas and the illnesses. And we can also feel in the field, basically, okay, you have a grief, a sadness. What is this connected to? And we check, and you can also check, is this related to your mom? Is something your mom's carrying, or is this related to your father? And when you scan mother or father, there'll be a resonance in your body. You'll feel a certain movement in your body when you name the parent or the person or the event that your illness or problem is associated with. And
mhm,
when we feel that connection or resonance, then we follow that. And then we do healing sentences around that. We understand, okay, what was the grief of your mom? Was there a miscarriage? Was there an abortion? Yeah, was there an affair that your mom was upset about? Yeah, did you reject your father because your mom was sad? Yeah. Did you take your mother's side and alienate yourself from your father? That
mhm,
will affect your liver, that will affect your vitality, that will affect your nervous system.
mhm, mhm.
These kind of loyalties that we do to one parent over the other. And I cover all of that in the course as well.
Yeah.
And so you really want to look at your entire history, but also get in tune with or look for a good therapist who can tune in and help you identify where your issues are coming from.
Mhm,
Which trauma, which parental trauma, which ancestral trauma, which life events. your illness is connected to.
This is so important because finding that little, well, not little, but that key issue, it can be a before and after. So it's really very important that you have brought this to us, Doctor. Thank you. Um, I know you have a gift to share with our audience. Can you talk a little bit more about it?
Absolutely. So drameet.com is my website. This drameet.com. There's free videos and ebook on gut healing, liver detox. There's a beautiful emotional healing exercise there as well. And there's a lot of master classes on how to combine all these therapies together. And then
Mhm.
there's full online courses on, holistic medicine with all my exact protocols and more remedies for gut, liver, adrenals, emotional healing, homeopathic remedies for trauma and liver detox. And then there's a full family constellations therapy online course as well. It's all on drameet.com. That's drameet.com.
Our audience is going to find that in our page. So, but again, it's dramet.com. Um, so, thank you, Doctor, today for bringing all this knowledge about holistic healing to us. I am especially grateful you are joining us from Kenya, and you are not feeling the best, and you made such an effort to still bring all of this to us. Thank you very much for joining us today.
A real pleasure. And I invite also the listeners to also check out the healing retreats. So there's in-person retreats we're doing in different parts of the world, North America, Italy, Greece, Kenya. Kenya, you can combine it with safaris or beaches. And that's where we'll go deeper into family constellations therapy, trauma healing, and just emotional well-being. So you're all welcome to join the retreats as well. It's on drmeet.com.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Lots of love, everyone. Thank you.